Many people are clapping for the governor of Enugu State that is doing wonders. But I can tell you this one that he's not doing any wonders. In fact, the current governor of Enugu State, in my opinion, is wreaking havoc in Enugu State.
Wreaking havoc?
Wreaking serious havoc.
How?
Let me compare this current government with his predecessor. The difference between this current government and his predecessor is that his predecessor happens to be a man who was given 10 naira to work. And probably he worked with 2 naira and couldn't account for 8 naira. And then this current governor.
What's your scorecard of your state governor, wherever it is that you are? You know, just put it in the comments. I'd love to actually engage with everyone this period, all right? Let me know what the scorecard is for if you are in Lagos, if you are in Anambra, if you are in Abuja. Abuja, you are going to do for the president, 2 years in office. How is he faring? Or maybe you could do for Wiki. There's some Wiki for the FCT alone. Okay, fine. I'd love to engage with that. If you're in Rivers, you can't really say it. Rivers, we have a problem there. I just remembered. Rivers is a sole administrator, and he's not marking 2nd year anniversary, right? I'm not sure he's marking 2nd year anniversary. He's not the one that is doing his celebrating 2nd year anniversary. It's the other guy. Rivers matter is complicated, and I saw a budget for Rivers. What's his name? Sibalai Fabara did a 1.1 billion naira budget. This guy came and is doing 1.4 billion naira, like 1.4 trillion naira budget. No, that's 1.1 billion. It's 1.1 trillion naira budget. This guy is out now doing 1.4 trillion, and see how they are accelerating the thing. And you tell me it's not about the funds of River State. They maybe when the money comes out, when they pass the budget, the people who are involved take their own share, then they reinstate the guy after 6 months. They've done what they wanted to do. They've collected the monies that they will go use for elections in 2027. And so life continues. It is what it is. And by the way, in Enugu State, there was somebody we hosted at our station, Barrister Subsidy, and he practically said some things that are quite profound, especially as it concerns the Enugu State government, that everybody's clapping for Peter Mbah. Do we even know how much that this man collects monthly as federal allocation? Do you know how much he's making from tax that he's taxing people in the state? Yes, you may be seeing all the things that he's doing and clapping, but under Ugwuanyi, he said, according to him, because I'm going to play back that interview so that you can actually watch for yourself. He said that under Ugwuanyi, just like Ugwuanyi had a 10 naira as an allocation and is using 2 naira to work. All right, had the 10 naira and is using 2 naira, 3 naira, 4 naira to work. And that's why it looks like that he didn't, like most likely he didn't do anything. That's what most people are saying, but Ugwuanyi did the best that he could. Then this guy is here, and then his guy is receiving 100 naira, but he's using 20 naira to work. That's exactly what's going on. That people should not clap anything. That he hasn't done anything spectacular to be praised for. So listen to that interview, and if you are in Enugu, tell me what you think. Is that really true? Is that really true that this man is receiving so much more, and given that he has been able to bring more people into the tax nets, so he's getting more monies, because the projection was 600 billion. They're getting, monies from coal. I really never knew that they were getting monies from coal. There are people who mine coal every day in Enugu, so they pay the state government for that mining of coal. So the tax on that particular mining is also a plus. So that's the reason why when you say Enugu doesn't have money, Enugu State is no longer that state that is civil service anymore. Like it's huge. A state that told you that they are doing 600 billion in internally generated revenue. 600 billion. No, wait, is this 600 billion? It's 6 billion actually, not 600 billion, because Ugwuanyi at the time was doing 140 billion, so but 40 billion, 80 billion, but this government is saying they're doing some considerable amount of money, huge amount of money. I'm not too sure, Sha. I'm not too sure. I need to get the numbers right, but I heard that they are, you know, that they are beating whatever it is that they projected. The projection for last year, they actually beat it. The projection for this, that's internally generated revenue. They are looking that it has surpassed. It's going to surpass whatever, you know, that they have projected, which is, you know, good. But then again, the people of the state are screaming, they're shouting, they're crying that the tax is too high, it's too much. This money that you are taking away from them. Is it not when somebody eats that you go and use road, you go and use you go and use water? Somebody should eat first. But anyway, let's listen to what he says. Tell me what you think. All right, I will come afterwards, and then also to let me know what you think about the administration of Peter Mbah. Do you think he's done well? Do you think the income he's received has matched the but the project that he's been doing? Because that's what people are projecting right now, that the income he has been receiving does not match the outcome. But then I ask people, what about other state governors, Imo states, Ebonyi, Anambra? The income that they're receiving, does it match whatever that they're doing? But this man, at least physically, it looks like we can touch it. He's launching Enugu Air. He's doing CNG buses. He's doing International Conference Center. He's doing
infiltrating units that make up Nigeria. Now we saw a situation whereby funds were allegedly recouped from the removal of fuel subsidy, and then these funds were supposed to be used for the betterment of the Nigerian people. These funds were given to the governments of the federating states, and these governments failed, for reasons best known to them, prima facie, to make use of these funds for the benefit of the Nigerian people. And Mr. President, the Enugu State. Many people are clapping for the governor of Enugu State that he's doing wonders. But I can tell you this one that he's not doing any wonders. In fact, the current governor of Enugu State, in my opinion, is wreaking havoc in Enugu State.
Wreaking havoc? Wreaking
serious havoc.
How?
Let me compare this current government with his predecessor. The difference between this current government and his predecessor is that his predecessor happens to be a man who was given 10 naira to work. And probably he worked with 2 naira and couldn't account for 8 naira. And then this current governor, this current government, under the watch of the current governor of the state, let me give it to him by his own ingenuity, has been able to expand, his income revenue generation net, and now he has an opportunity to lay his hands on 100 naira, and now he's working with prima facie working with 20 naira, and people are clapping. Because on the face of it, he seems to have worked in quotes more than the previous governor. But we are not just opposing that with the funds available at his disposal. That's why he's wreaking serious havoc. But you don't have to talk much in this situation whereby you have a docile populace that are clapping for him. People who can sit down to embark on what I refer to as rational thinking. People who can actually dispassionately analyze issues. And when you talk about the projects being executed by the current governor, for instance, many people make mention of the roads being built by the governor. Take a look at those roads. How many years will most of those roads last? These are the questions people don't ask. But let me not digress from the topic of discourse this morning. Why I raise this issue is this. If I'm right, Enugu State also happens to be one of the states that received the funds that accrued from the fuel subsidy removal. So those who are clapping for the Enugu State governor and other governors should ask them, Oga, good and fine, you are doing wonders in quotes. We would like to know if these wonders you are doing, if the funds you are using for the execution of these projects also include funds given to you from the fuel subsidy removal policy of Mr. President. If the answer is yes, then the funds your internal board of internal revenue people are seriously collecting from the Enugu State people. So where are those funds going to? For instance, in Enugu State, if I'm right, for a period of about 1 year, if I'm right, there wasn't any local government, the democratically elected local government system of government, tier of government in place in Enugu. So the funds that ordinarily should have been utilized by the leaders of the local government tier of government, if they were in power for that period of time. So where did those funds go to? Were they also used in part of the project? If the answer is yes, you now marry the projects and other other activities, governance activities carried out by the governor, vis-a-vis the funds at the disposal. I raise this issue because I know as a fact that a Nigerian citizen from Enugu State took this matter to court, in which he sought information. The matter is still subsidies, even though on appellate level anyway, in which he sought information in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act from the government of Enugu State on the manner in which I think the COVID-19 palliatives were distributed. And I think this same issue, yes, the first subsidy remover was also raised, but many people don't ask these questions. That matter is still subsidies, so I won't delve much into it. So in a nutshell, we have a president who, governance is not easy, but if you summon courage to remove fuel subsidy, you should also concurrently summon that courage to ensure that the profits that conventionally emanated from that fuel subsidy remover benefits the Nigerian people. And the opposite seems to be playing out. And that is why we now have an army of impoverished Nigerians. So Mr. President, with due respect, got it wrong. So maybe, for the benefit of that, maybe the other candidates who have maybe removed fuel subsidy, but they will have put in place a very stringent mechanism to ensure that the funds realized from the fuel subsidy remover will be used in taking care of other facets of the Nigerian economy. Because the argument has always been remove fuel subsidy, that the money is normally being used in subsidizing the importation of PMS and other sister products. Will now be used in developing our infrastructure, doing this, doing that, having a strong healthcare system. We will now ask ourselves, now that fuel subsidy has been removed, have we noticed any reasonably admirable progress in the workings of the Nigerian system? And again, it is said that Nigeria is a mixed economy, that we run a capitalist, or better still, quasi-capitalist economy. But what we now have is a situation whereby we are now led in a scenario where there is a case of free for all. There is hyperinflation. If there's anything more than hyperinflation, I think that is what we are witnessing in Nigeria, in which virtually all segments of the Nigerian economy, there is this competition on who will increase the prices of his goods and services above that of his contemporary. And I think on a lighter note, it's only in the law profession, it's like we are here to increase the amount of money we charge for our professional services for those who look for trouble. And I've told people of late that this time around, if we are to represent you in court, that you are going to pay heavily because there is reckless increase in the price of goods and services in Nigeria. Just like here in Enugu State, there's this astronomical increase in the price of house rent. And when you take a look at some of the factors fueling this development, you will find out that in the first instance, this is being fueled by the culture of greed that has pervaded this environment. Because as we are indicting the government, we should also be honest enough to admit that we are also part of the stakeholders in the retrogression our society is suffering. So as I noted earlier, one of the factors behind this development is the culture of greed that has pervaded this environment, in which many of us want to acquire money by all means, be it landlords, be it tenants. Then secondly, you should also look at the policies of the government. You have a situation whereby the government, in the course of trying to implement these conventional policies, now ensures that taxes are paid, taxes should be paid, but at times even increasing taxes being paid at a geometrical speed, at a very alarming and improper proportion. But we should also appreciate the fact that in as much as taxes should be paid by citizens, in civilized economies, where you have leaders who are in tune with the realities of the moment, in a situation of the nature that we have found ourselves in, what is usually being done is that instead of compelling citizens to pay taxes, tax waivers are given to citizens. Because it is when businesses are grown that people will now, to a great extent, be reasonably comfortable to participate happily in the art of governance. But in a situation, for instance, the Enugu State, whereby the president removed fuel subsidy, and then the people are battling with the adverse effect of that fuel subsidy removal, and you have a government that seems to be insensitive to the plight and predicament of the people. And there is this, in my opinion, because at times you behave in a very strange manner. You may be here analyzing an issue where a vast majority of those you think you are speaking their mind may actually be comfortable with the policies of the government of the day. But from my own dispassionate perspective, I think there is serious frustration in the land. There is this feeling of despair in the land. and in which case a sensitive government, instead of even imposing more taxes, should put in place policies that will help see to that businesses thrive. Because rest assured that many businesses are winding up in Enugu. Forget about the theories of economic growth being brandished about by some persons who are pro-government. But the reality, I speak from personal experience. I speak from the interactions I've had with up-and-coming entrepreneurs, young men and women who are trying to make ends meet. Many businesses are winding up because of the harsh economic policies emanating from this fuel subsidy removal. So in a nutshell, the president got it wrong by touching the mono economy of the Nigerian nation, being the oil sector, sequel to the fuel subsidy removal policy that was put in place, without concurrently putting in place a very strong policy framework that we see to read that the then envisaged benefits of fuel subsidy removal will trickle down to the lowest cadre of the Nigerian society. That was not to be the case. The president removed subsidy and then he allowed us to contend with fate. And I can tell you that it's not fun out there in the nation. I don't know for others, but there are those who are stupendously rich. But I can tell you generally that it's not fun at all. There is hyperinflation. Naira is basically, with due respect, valueless. You are with 100,000 naira. In the next minute, you spend the money, and the money you are talking about, you spend the money on basic necessities, even without taking care of those basic necessities of life. We are not talking about frivolities. Like, let me use myself as like I own a private football club. I won't mention the name because of the policy of the, otherwise the amount of advertisement. But that private football club now, we are on break. Why? The training ground normally make use of. They hack the price of the price of making use of their facilities. Sequel to the policy of the government. And these are young men who ordinarily do make one or two pecuniary benefits, from exhibiting their skills, and then, but because of that particular adverse policy of the government for a very long time now, and I can tell you many private football clubs in this city are also affected. But we have an insensitive government at the various tiers of government. People who are, to a great extent, seriously disconnected from the reality on the ground. People who govern as if they are attending to wild animals, not even domestic animals. People are crying, many people are lamenting, and you have the government busy imposing taxes recklessly. That is not the way it's been done. Let me give an example.
In just 2 minutes.
When Obama became the president of US, he didn't go about imposing taxes or enforcing taxes on a US businessman. What he did was that rather the government, his government put in place policies that sought to read that businesses were assisted to grow. It's just like opening up a new church for those who are in that line of this thing. If you open up a new church, the well-established church has to be remitting funds for that new church to grow. But if you open up a new church and you start expecting what they refer to as remitting of funds to the, but before you know it, the parishioners of the lower church will start lamenting, and before you know it, many people will start coming to church. These things play out. So that's what is playing out in Nigeria. The economy is in shambles, agreed. The masses are feeling seriously the adverse impacts of economic policies of the government, both at the federal and state level. And we are busy collecting your tax. We are very much interested, as if that's the only good thing about the government imposition and collection of tax. Would that mean that our hospitals, for instance, in Enugu State, are they of world-class quality? Can the president of Nigeria come to Enugu State now to seek medical services if the president falls ill? I'm asking the government of Enugu State that question. Our schools, are they of international standard? Has the Enugu State University of Science and Technology appeared among the first 2,000 universities in the whole world, considering the enormity of funds this government has gotten? Because if you collect these funds, you are supposed to ensure that we get the best of facilities we need in our environment. That is not the case.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack, especially as it concerns this administration. We have a long week to talk about this administration. We wanted to talk about holistically, but right now it's as if our time is gone. But I'm sure that this particular